very slowly. Here we go. We are live.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the second conversation between Simone and I. We are covering, well, we hope you like the first one of us rambling about friends. But yeah, we've got lots to unpack today. How about you tell the audience about what's on the docket today?
Oh, yeah. We can start with the agenda in a way. So we have The Devil Wears Prada, obviously, because one has to, to plug into the general conversation. Then we have something about mall rats, which is, young people, teenagers, apparently going back to malls for shopping. Then we have something about the Geese psyop. So this idea that not an idea, it has been proven that an agency was involved in creating fake or as they say, user-generated content to kind of, support the idea that Geese was bigger than they were in actual reality. And then we're talking about our favorite company right now, Palantir.
My favorite fashion brand right now.
Yeah, favorite. I mean, I'm using air quotes.
Yeah, quote, favorite, unquote.
favorite to discuss, favorite to this, favorite to whatever. And then we end with the Milano Design Week, or the Milano Marketing Stunt Week, as I fondly call it. But I mean, over to you, Edmond. Maybe since you have actually seen the movie, you have watched the movie, we should start with the Devil Wears Prada.
Okay, all right. So, spoilers ahead for everyone that hasn't seen the movie. I won't spoil. Try not to spoil it too much, but yeah, so I saw the Devil Wears Prada 2 this past weekend. And for those of you uninitiated, so the plot summary of the movie, or the premise of the movie, is that Runway has essentially gotten itself into a bit of a situation. So they've published an article about Shine, or a Shine standard, basically, that they basically were giving them like glowing adulation, and then later it was revealed they had done some like dodgy manufacturing practices and used, I think it was, some form of modern slavery to make clothes. And so Runway, aka Vogue's reputation, is in tatters, and so is Miranda Priestley, aka Anna Wintour. And so at the same time of this, Andy Sachs, our main girl from the first movie, she is winning a journalism award when the whole staff of her whole team at the publication where she writes gets laid off. And so she has a bit of a viral moment where she makes a very impassioned speech around the value of journalism. And so the premise is that she then gets hired by Elias Clark, so basically Condé Nast, to come and restore Runway's journalistic integrity as its new features editor. So that's kind of like the summary of the movie, which is, I think, in itself, it's a very pertinent theme, especially with the state of modern media and journalism today. Although I think overall my thoughts on it were that it can't quite help but be a product of the kind of media landscape that it is in. Like, so it is something that, very rightfully takes a stand, and there's a lot of conversations in the movie. I'll try not to like spoil it, but like around the value of preserving craft and the pursuit of human artistry, and the kind of the brilliance of human achievement, which I believe is a phrase that Miranda Priestley uses in the movie. And so I think it is very the messaging is very very pertinent, very on point for today, and I think a lot of people feel a lot of empathy for what the characters are going through, but at the same time it doesn't it is kind of a victim of the things that it complains about as well. So, from a cinematography perspective, there are parts of the movie that look really good, but then a lot of it, it's like, it looks like a commercial. I'm sure people have complained about this, but it doesn't have that kind of like, a charm of the first one in how it's shot. But it's the nature of how films are made today. And then, at the same time, I found that a lot of the comedic aspects, the first one was definitely like a very good, very strong comedy as well, but there was this feeling that like they had played Miranda, like they turned her a little bit stupid. There was this one scene of her hanging up her coat and really struggling at it, which was played to like reflect the changing times, but it just seemed a little bit absurd that she's this helpless woman, which you can't really imagine. As someone who's kind of a stand-in for Anna Wintour, like it's not really something that you would see. And obviously there needs to be comedy, but I would say the first film did a much better job at, creating comedy from the context, rather than these kind of like absurd, absurd gags. I would say. So yeah, I think the fashion is a bit up and down as well. I think some choices were a bit questionable. Perhaps it could have been used to, like, there's a tassel jacket that gets complained about a lot on the internet, and so I like, and then perhaps it's played as a representation that Miranda is kind of off her game or off balance, but it doesn't. But I think you have to really think harder about that, or like kind of post-rationalize that. And then there's a lot of like kind of sponsorship as well in there. Like Valentino definitely would pay for a few placements in there. There's a scene in which a bag is gifted from one character to another, and it's not a great bag. Compared to the significance of the you see some of these like real highlights of fashion in the first one, and I think the visual, like you don't get that same level of iconography this time around. I mean, it's this is not to say it's a bad movie by any stretch, and I think it has very noble intentions, but I don't think that it quite lands the balance as the first one did. Or I feel like the mix of it is serious. It's a little unserious where it should be serious, and a little serious where it should be unserious. I feel is my read on it.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't watched it yet, but from what I read and from your words, even I get the feeling that it's trying to be different things, and maybe too many of them. So it's still a comedy in parts, and of course they have to play that card. Then it's almost a documentary, or there is an element of being a documentary about the media industry, the publishing industry, and the crisis we all feel. And then at the end of the day, it feels very much like a marketing product, because at the end of the day, it's nostalgia play for millennials. At the end of the day, I think that's the core demographic they are trying to hit, and they are succeeding, by the way, because I saw the figures for the opening weekend. And it's quite impressive. I mean, it seems like we can already call it a huge success. I mean, I was telling you before we started recording that again, the what I call the ambient marketing. So everything they are doing to promote this movie, which, by the way, I mean, one feels that the promotion started like 2 years ago.
Yes.
It feels like since forever I've been seeing, snippets or, pieces about this. Anyway, the ambient marketing is so powerful that even my daughter who's very young, she became aware of it. Now she didn't go to the cinema yet, but she forced me. It was fun at the end of the day to watch the original movie, which she didn't see. She loved it, and now we are going to watch the new one together, probably in the weekend. So I think something they did well on the side. It's not part of the movie, but it's part of the movie industry packaging. Is the marketing. The marketing became so powerful that if I open my inbox, I see at least a couple of newsletters about, or even in the subject line, you can read the Devil Wears Prada. And aside from us, so people who read the newsletters, I mean, one gets a feeling that there is almost, they have managed to create a kind of FOMO. So it's so much into the conversation that if you haven't seen it, you feel you cannot join the conversation. So when you're having a cigarette break or a lunch break with colleagues, very 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 normal people, we are not talking about marketing people, it's going to pop up in the conversation, and you want to have something to have something to say. So maybe we're going to talk about the Geese psyop later, but I think the real psyop was the Devil Wears.
The Devil Wears Prada. Well, I
It
mean,
really,
it's
really
very
was.
hard for it not to be so popular. I mean, it's such a cultural touchstone of the
Yeah.
mid 2000s. Like, I think there was a very yeah, I don't think I can envision a world where it wouldn't have been like massive unless they had done something like, like got rid of like 3 of the main characters.
Yes. I mean, doing something almost self-sabotage to that level.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, although I think that's partly also the limit, because again, it's a huge production, so the budget was obviously quite important. And when the movie industry does that kind of investment today, which, by the way, seems to be almost the only kind of investment it does, they want sure bets. And one way to have a sure bet, again, almost the only way, is to play the nostalgia card. So you do a sequel, you do, which, okay, makes sense financially. It's and you get something like this, a movie that you said it yourself. So I did like it, but it was not at the same level as the original. And that's the general feeling with sequels. If we make an average, and I mean, we're not moving forward. We're not bringing new people to the cinemas by only doing sequels, by only appealing again to the nostalgia of millennials or even older people. If we think about other franchises, I would be interested in knowing, maybe there are some figures around, if Gen Z is actually going to the movies to watch Devil Wears Prada, or if it's just working on people my age or even slightly older or slightly younger. Because if that is not the case, I mean, you are succeeding on one level because you're obviously making a product that is very, very profitable, but you're not rejuvenating, the whole idea of going to the movies and watching a movie in a cinema.
I mean, like, it's there was a Harper's article that came out today about how The Devil Wears Prada is a broken promise to millennials, because the first movie was saying that, if you hustle, you can succeed, even though there are costs to it. And then I think the second one is now really like challenging that premise of, say, like, is what you're doing really, going to be worth it? Which I feel like is also, very like timely. Timely subtext as well.
Very timely, almost nihilistic, but yes. Very, very, very timely. I'm not sure, but I saw again, I saw some movies, some videos, sorry, online about the marketing machine behind the movie, printing out copies of the Runway magazine, which is
I
a
saw
stand.
that. I saw. Yeah.
Yeah, and I thought it was fantastic because you saw, okay, in the videos, but I don't have difficulties believing that you saw people queuing to get the magazine,
Mm.
when the reality is that those same people probably never bought the magazine in the last couple of years.
Yes. Yeah.
Mostly because, or also because there aren't so many places where you can buy magazines in the first place. I mean, news kiosks are, they all shut down. So
Mm.
they wanted the magazine not because it was a magazine, but it was like a trophy or a fetish or a stand-in for a fashion accessory, signaling something, which is interesting because I think that a lot of new media titles that do print media, basically they are doing that. So we are printing a magazine, but it's not really a magazine, it's a fashion accessory.
Mm. Mm.
It's something that has the shape, it has the gravitas, but you don't worry, you don't have to read it.
Just, it's like all those coffee table books people buy and then just put there, and then
Exactly.
like they just never read them.
It's the Taschen or the what's the name, the Asolin of
Oh yeah,
it's that
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
stuff.
That's an interesting point to make, though. It's like Astley doesn't sell books; it sells status totems for you to put in your living room.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I mean, magazines get purchased by billionaires as trophies. At one point there was this rumor that Jeff Bezos was going to buy Vogue as a
Yeah, yeah.
as a wedding present to his
There's
now.
there's an interesting plot line which I won't tell you, but like you'll know what I'm talking about when you watch the movie.
Okay, but I sort of understand everything in that movie is a stand-in for something else, and
Yeah.
everything in that movie is honestly about Condé Nast at the end of
Pretty
the day.
much, pretty much. Although, like, one of the things that's interesting is that I feel like the first one was genuinely like a fashion industry movie because it was, talking about like the machinations of the fashion industry, and it had this plot line about a young designer that is, getting basically swept up and like made into, like a big commercial brand with like fragrances and accessories and da 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 da. But this one is almost exclusively a publishing movie, I would say. It
Hmm.
has like a little bit of like commentary on luxury retail, but not so much on like design process or like the business of fashion. Like not there's a little bit of that, but there's not a lot of that. It's mostly like predominantly a journalism and media first movie.
It's the business of surviving in the publishing industry.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I kind of hoped that it would be a little bit more of a
Mm.
fashion movie.
But I will watch it because now I have my daughter blackmailing me.
I think
So,
you'll enjoy it. I think you'll enjoy it. I think everyone. I think it's like
yeah.
the speed at which like it or at least like what it really nails for me is like it's just very like zeitgeisty. It's like very
Mm,
um, it's telling the right story at the right moment.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay, so shall we move on to the mall rats?
All rats. Yes,
Mall
yes.
rats,
Speaking
yes.
of retail.
Yeah. Speaking of
Yeah.
retail, speaking of industries that are not in such a splendid moment. Let me see if I can share maybe the article. Oh yes, here it is. Yeah, so I'm explicitly referencing this article that came out on the Wall Street Journal. Actually, it was 2 months ago, almost 2 months ago. And I think it's quite relevant because at the end of the day, it says that I mean, first of all, it's a weak signal. Okay, a Wall Street Journal article doesn't amount to a trend, but I think it's a weak signal that is directionally right. And what the article says, what the article is about, is the fact that Gen Z, so teenagers, to use another word, are going back to the malls. And when we talk about the malls, I think all of us have in mind those pictures of ghost malls being malls having been abandoned for decades. We probably have in mind the number about the figures about physical retail, so with places shutting down, retail networks shrinking, that kind of discourse. And this goes in the opposite direction. So they are actually saying that young people are going back to shopping in real life, so in person. They are going back to the malls. And they are mentioning several examples of that. One of them is PacSun, which I think is an interesting one, because I mean, there is no risk of mistaking PacSun for a company that fights digital retail. So they have been very vocal about the results they have accomplished online. They have been very vocal about, for example, having a huge portion of their online sales on TikTok. So sales that have been generated by creators on TikTok. At the same time, now they are saying we have gone back to increasing our footprint, our physical footprint, because we see what this article is about. So the same trend, the same thing happening, and it's this idea that it runs a bit counter to general thinking that teenagers, Gen Z, very young people, yes, it's about TikTok, it's about Roblox, it's about Fortnite, of course. That's not going away in any way. But at the end of the day, they also want to socialize. Shopping is, at the end of the day, especially in America, in the US, is a quite important way of socializing. And so I thought it was interesting. I mean, for me, it pairs nicely with that chart, that graph that I saw a few months back, showing that for the first time, usage of social media among young people is going down, not dramatically. So I don't think we are going back to a time when people are refusing or people don't go on social media. That's not going to happen. But I think it might be the signal of a small correction. Okay, people have spent probably too much time online, and there is a bit of wear out. You want to go back to interacting in person. What do you make?
I mean, I think that it is like driven by like increasing skepticism over the amount of screen time that somebody has. And I think a lot of these topics are very overwrought, but I think this is the embers of that manifesting. So, compared to, I suppose, like, 10, 15 years ago, there was still, when there was, like, these reports of like dead malls or, decline in, like, everyone's kind of moving online. There was this, like, still like kind of feeling of optimism about technology, but as time has gone on and like things look bleaker and bleaker from as a result of our like the efforts of our technological overlords, it makes sense that there is this like pushback against like spending so much time on screen. People are going to have realized that, and this is the embers of this like a correction or a change that's pushing people to outside again. I think one point I'd like to like raise and I'd be interested to hear your opinion on is, there's always been a discussion on Gen Z's always been like, okay, more interested in experiences and purchasing experiences rather than goods. And that may be true, but I wonder now, it's like going to the mall is like now an experience in and of itself. Like shopping is an IRL experience, which beats just like click and collect, right? Because you have the whole. So it's like it's true that they are like, if they do prefer experience, then maybe that providing a better experience for them through, or providing a experience by showing up in real life is it makes sense. I did some doing consulting for a teen apparel brand, and they had this massive pop-up last year in LA. And these girls would line up for hours at a time. People say that like Gen Alpha or Gen Z have no attention span, like, but if they want to see like their favorite influencer, they will line up in the sun for hours and
Of
hours.
course.
So I think it's not about whether someone has an attention span. It's just there's so much content, you have to be discerning about where you spend your time. So I think it's a reflection of that. I think people have been thinking teenagers are stupid for too long.
Yeah. No, I think in general we have a lot of maybe wrong assumptions about Gen Z or even Gen Alpha if we switch one generation forward. And part of that is due to the fact that, I mean, generational marketing is as a notion is a very weak notion. I mean,
I agree.
Yeah. So I know it leads to very, very, very streamlined and very easy to follow decks. It leads to very strong sounding proclamations. But at the end of the day, the assumption that people having the same age or people belonging to the same generation share that much is probably a wrong assumption. It has been proven wrong in many instances. I mean, yes, there are some generational traits that are more recurring in a generation, but that's about it. Anyway, back to your original point. I do think that shopping is an experience. Unless you are shopping for, the most boring stuff, I don't know. For me, that would be, I don't know, I need to replace a light bulb. Okay, that's give me the fastest way to do it. It's not something that can create some passion for me. But everything else, I mean, it's a pastime. It's a pastime or a way to kill time. I mean, depending on the situation, depending on the mood. And I think physical retail is very good at that. Go out.
I think so.
Yeah, you visit a store, you meet your friends, talking about very young people, you meet your friends in front of the store, you have a bit of gossip, you see what are the pictures on everyone's phone, then you go in together, you try things, maybe you don't buy anything. So it's a ritual at the end of the day, and it's a way to spend a Saturday afternoon or something. Then we can talk about the fact that maybe there are less commercial or commercially stained ways of spending your time. But I would say that anything that takes you being a father, being a parent, anything that takes you away from your phone or your digital device back into real life deserves a chance. So I'm quite happy to see mole rats, as they call them, become newly a reality.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm all for the mole rats hanging out. I mean, like, also it's like it's just in a way, it's another medium to hang out in. Like, why would you not want to, right? It's another place to hang out. I think there are like fewer and fewer places to hang out. So
Absolutely.
I think this is
it's being in the Fortnite lobby.
bit of both, equal measure.
Yeah, I think that's the formula for young people. Bit of both. Okay, so they will spend some time on Fortnite, and then they will spend some time in real life. And I think that's the reality that we as marketers have to manage. By the way.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's I think this is a positive development. I'm hoping I'm gonna see it more. Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of the times, just like people are just repeating things about like young people are young. It could be like the that could be like the deck. It could be summed up. It's like when they have all these Gen Z decks, it's just like young people are doing young things.
Yeah, we could do instead of doing a trend piece, we could do a collection of cliche.
Collection of cliches, yeah, just the most absurd things. Shall we talk about Geese then? The Geese
Oh yeah.
psyop.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Geese. But by the way, before we get into the marketing side of it, do you like Geese or?
I do like Geese. I have friends that are really like my friend. I don't know if I should say this in a pod. Like my friend Patrick doesn't. He's not. I don't think he's really into Geese.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, don't know. Oh wow, okay. I did not expect the Chaotic Good website to look like this.
Yeah, it didn't look like this, by the way, a few weeks ago.
Uh,
But anyway, let's bring all the viewers up to speed, because maybe they have no idea what we are talking about. So, Geese, let me share the other article, actually the original article that started the chaos. Yeah, Geese is a band. Is a band that has been is an indie band, let's say, that has been around for a few years. I actually lost track of how many albums they did. I think this is the third one, but I might be wrong. Anyway, there was this piece less than 1 month ago that came out on Wired, and it generated a lot of reaction. So you see a lot of reaction pieces in print and online. And the guy who wrote the piece basically found out that there was a company, a marketing agency called Chaotic Good, which is the marketing agency I was showing before, that engineered a campaign for to support Geese, but not only Geese. They engineered the similar campaigns for a lot of artists. By the way, some of them are quite mainstream. I mean, Geese is relatively niche. And basically, what they did, what the article says they did, is they created a lot of fake accounts. Fake in the sense that, I mean, they were actually created by humans, but like one person was managing, I don't know, 200 accounts or something like that. And through those fake accounts, they were spreading enthusiastic content about Geese, and so they were trying to make Geese appear bigger, and to create some fear of missing out. Okay, this is the one band everyone is talking about. You should at least check them out. And then the article goes on saying that, I mean, not only Chaotic Good, there are other agencies doing the similar work, and every band basically does it, and blah blah blah. But interesting part is that it became almost, I would say, a moral debate. Maybe Geese was the perfect storm, because Geese, I mean, it's still perceived, and it still is, I guess, an indie band. An indie band run on authenticity. So the idea that supposedly authentic band uses these marketing gimmicks, these marketing, dark tricks to chase popularity was especially offending to some. And then there was this debate online in the comment section, but also, spread across multiple articles, in which some people said, well, okay, it's not nice, but everybody's doing it. And anyway, if they weren't good to start with, this wouldn't be enough. Whereas other people were more critical and said they were. My feeling is that they were in a minority. They said, "No, this is terrible. They shouldn't be doing this. I will basically cancel them." Okay, not using those words, but that was the meaning. And so in a way, I will say something. I'm not a huge fan of them, but I do like them. I did get a feeling. I mean, it never hit my my mind the idea that maybe there was something behind it, but I did get a feeling that all of a sudden they were everywhere, like Charlie XX. Okay, uh, at some point that was like 2 years ago, I guess, she was everywhere, and there was a marketing campaign behind it, and it was very nicely orchestrated, maybe less muddy than this one. That there was something. In this case, yes, I did get a feeling that they were suddenly everywhere, and I couldn't explain why to myself. And then I read this article, and it kind of made sense that they were doing something to help them.
Mm, mm. What are your thoughts about the morality of the botting? Well, they're not bots because I think they're
No,
real.
they were not bots. What can you
Yeah.
say? Uh, I think at the end of the day, if you want to make art, I mean, I think they have a record label, probably a big one at this stage behind,
Mm,
or a distribution label. I mean, the music industry is quite complicated. Anyway, if you want to make money, or if you want to, continue making music and so sustain yourself through music and not having to work in a McDonald's or whatever, I think you have to accept some compromise. You have to accept that
mm,
partly you are a product,
mm,
and being a product means that sometimes you have to kind of kind of play by the rules, because I do think that this is part of the standard playbook in the music industry. So they do these campaigns, and some of them are more, let's say, correct. So you reach out to micro influencers or not so micro influencers, and maybe you pay them, maybe you don't. You send them advance copies. This is very very visible, for example, in the book publishing industry, expecting a review, and in a way you are trying to manufacture this sense that something is happening, something this is big. You are
mm,
sending them to the whole new media circuit. So you're going to Saturday Night Live, you're going to some podcast, you're going to. I mean, it's part of a campaign. Maybe this wasn't the most clean or the most noble part of the campaign, but uh, to be honest, I'm not even sure the band itself would be aware of this.
mm, mm.
To be to be
It's
honest, at that level.
There's a line in the article, the original article on Substack,
Mhm.
that where so she's a musician herself, the author of the article, and she
Mhm.
writes that if somebody had offered for Chaotic Good to do a campaign for her, she would say yes. So, she's like
Mm.
admits, it's like, I'll complain about it, but like, I can't lie and say that I wouldn't also want this. So it's like, as you say, it's like an aspect of like, if you want to make money, like this is the landscape that you're going to launch into. And so it is kind of like it's a shame, like should it ought to be like this? Yes, but you can't escape the reality that is like this, and if you aren't going to do it, someone else is. So you would just like, you're using the tools available to fight the war that you have.
Yeah, yeah. Then I suppose, because okay, at the end of the day, there was something dirty about it. And by the way, the website for Chaotic Good was different before this article
Yeah,
came out, because it
yeah,
listed all the clients, all the bands, all the musicians. And once this came out, they deleted basically all the client list, all the work portfolio they had online, because of course you don't want that. They said it's something to the extent of we don't want people visiting our website to assume that every band in our portfolio did the same thing, because we sell multiple services and there are multiple variations of that campaign.
mm,
Okay, it was borderline anyway, because you can do a seeding campaign in a more transparent way, probably in a more fun way even. Uh, that's the reality. That's the reality of the world we live in, and so
Yeah, it gives me the same feeling of the clipping farms that
Mm.
people use to push like somebody like Clavicula up top,
Oh
and
yeah.
the clipping discords. I don't know if you've been been looking at those as well, where I think you get paid like you get paid a certain amount of money to post clips of streamers as a way to like artificially pump their popularity. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, so I think it's kind of quite similar.
it's part of the same farming technique. Again, one would hope you could make it without these gimmicks. And who knows? Maybe they would have made it even without this, because I'm sure the marketing campaign, and not just the marketing campaign, had something else going for them on top of the chaotic good seeding. But then probably some marketing executive at the record label decided to put a chip on this activity, and it got approved, and then it spun out of control, and now they are in crisis management mode, by the way.
This like industry plant accusation like gets thrown all around like a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking about Dominic Fike, who I think is also gets very commonly accused of being a industry plant. But I think in his situation, I think he was like kind of developed out of what label is he? Let's see, Dominic Fike.
I have no idea.
Columbia Records.
Okay.
So he got discovered and signed to Columbia Records. I remember watching a documentary about this.
Huh.
Yeah, he got like signed for Columbia for $4 million. And that was like he just he had just done a demo. I guess like they have made their money back in half now.
They need to recoup the investment, of course.
Yeah, it's good. They would definitely recoup their investment with him.
But even Clavicular was accused of being, not an industry plant in that case, but it was more like a political plant.
Political plant, Peter Thiel, Sugar Baby.
Oh yeah.
Those rumors as well. Yeah, alleged. Don't at me. Yeah.
Which I mean, since we are touching the evil side of marketing, it leads very nicely into Palantir.
Yeah. I think just to cap this one off, I mean, I think it's something that maybe like it's not. I'm contemplating what you said. Like, it's probably could be done in a more interesting way, like to do seeding. And so I think like, okay, we can write it off as something that maybe you like that's effective, but maybe you shouldn't do because it is inauthentic. I don't think you'll be able to stop anyone from doing it, but I do think it's something that perhaps maybe
I think
just because it's common doesn't mean it's okay.
No, I agree. And
Yeah.
building on what you just said, I think maybe there was a bit of laziness built in, because at the end of the day, it's quite easy to outsource this kind of work to. I mean, at the end of the day, what they did is like almost a media campaign. They treated it as performance marketing. So I will give some money to this agency. This agency will give me a certain amount of videos, a certain amount of impressions, a certain amount of clicks, whatever was the basis for the plan. And it's off my hands. If I have to think of something more clever, then I have to put some extra effort into it. Okay, it's no longer the funnel technique or the digestive system version of marketing. It's something that requires some actual thinking, and I see that a lot. I see a lot of companies, just outsourcing money to performance-like players, because okay, at the end of the day, I give you a number, you give me a number back, and I can report a number. The number will be positive, of course, so I can look good in the eyes of my bosses, and that's fine. So morality doesn't really enter the picture. Probably it's a case of amorality, and it's more about laziness. It's about our obsession with dashboard culture and KPIs and whatever.
It's not a particularly aspirational aspect of marketing, but
No.
I guess yeah.
Oh,
Guess it works.
We are not collaborating with County Good anytime soon.
Yeah.
Okay, Palantir.
Palantir. Same
Yes.
kind of thing, actually. The whole taste, like the washing of I think it's symptomatic. Not symptomatic, like emblematic. So, shall I pull up the Palantir? If you want to just Google it, if you just put in Palantir chalk code, it'll come up.
Show us some real fashion.
Yes. Let's get to some real fashion. Let me just bring this up. Palantir chalk code. They have an entire line of merch.
Just like OpenAI, if I remember correctly.
Okay, so let's see. Okay, Palantir store. Wait, what am I? Where? Yeah. Okay. So, Palantir store, the forward deployed, which honestly I hate. Like, I hate the language around that. It's just like, come on, guys. Like, I know you're evil, but you're also like a bunch of turbo nerds. Like, making things sound like militaristic isn't actually going to change the fact that, like, you guys are just like Ayn Rand obsessed, like lunatics. But yeah, so they launched this French blue chalk coat, and it's in the French style, which is kind of ironic for a company that is like very American, or like wants to be very American centric. I mean, I suppose like good on them for local manufacturing and local materials as well. I mean, merch is merch, right? So I think it really is dependent on who's going to wear it. I think what's interesting about this is that it is taking something that is like very like it's a work jacket, right? Like it's meant to be something that is like very like pro manufacturing, pro working class. I'm not 100% sure that Palantir is that. And of course, I've read some like retorts by somebody from Palantir, who's saying like they work with like local manufacturing, they work with XYZ companies like in military as well, and government to support that. But when you balance that up against like the messaging that they have, like really strong militaristic like dominance vibes, kind of what is it like, this idea of this grand narrative of like, again, like very like Ayn Rand objectivism.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What's the payoff of Palantir?
Pardon me?
You know the payoff of Palantir.
Payoff.
It's
what do you mean
software that dominates.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Dominates, right?
Yeah, there is this very macho, very right wing leaning imagery associated to it.
Yes, exactly. But I think all of this, like, like my read on it, it's like you're using this kind of like language of or like visual language of fashion at least, while actively building things that will that are undercutting what is the genesis of this of fashion in the first place. And again, it links back to our conversation from the Devil Wears Prada, where you have this like tension between human artistry and then the plot has a lot of like elements of like, is AI going to destroy creativity or destroy like authenticity or like meaningful publishing. And the movie doesn't come to a clear conclusion about that, because I think none exists right now, but it is kind of I think this is kind of ghoulish in my opinion.
Yeah, it is.
What do you think about it?
Well, I think in a way, I mean, if you are being very, very rational, I kind of understand where this comes from, because I mean, these companies, these AI companies, and by the way, Palantir has the double stigma of being an AI company that works a lot with the military. So it's it's the most evil company you can imagine of that. I mean, they have two issues. One is that they are perceived as evil. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's I mean, from a PR perspective, it can be kind of an issue. I mean, the same issue that oil companies are facing, the same issues that arms companies are facing. We are in that space. The thing is, this is not about making them feel or making them be perceived as less evil. It's an attempt to make them feel cooler than they are.
Yeah.
which is a different, maybe I don't know, maybe they realize that given what we do, it's impossible to be perceived as the good guys. So let's at least be perceived as the cool villain.
I 100% agree with that. I don't know if they're succeeding, because
And maybe
I think there's a sexier way to do this.
Yeah, I mean, there is a sexy way. And unfortunately, to do uniforms, there is a sexy way to do right-wing imagery. I mean, history
for sure.
teaches us something. I don't think they are very good at. They are not very good at it yet.
No, I don't think I don't think the right wing is very good at aesthetics, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, this stuff, I mean, if you are trying to be cool, this stuff is quite clearly very, very derivative, very, I don't know, very 10 or 15 years ago, whatever. So it's not really accomplishing that. I'm afraid they could be. They could be way cooler than this. So if they
I think they're like, if they really wanted to, they could. I do think that there are like parts, like, I mean, like, you have the like Romelia or like Milady's, like this Dime Square scene in New York. They know. I feel like they know how to twist the right knobs, or like turn the push the right levers. I think like there is definitely that, but this is not that.
This is not that. We're not giving suggestions, given the type of client. But yeah, there is an opportunity, and I think the opportunity is more real for tech companies that are maybe less evil, or perceived as less evil, which is the same in marketing terms, than this one. You know that in Silicon Valley, and this is part of the same discussion, there is this new adagio, this new saying that taste is the new moat.
No? Oh, I hate it. I hate it so much. Because it's coming, it's like coming from people who are like, oh, taste is the new moat, except for fashion. Actually, that doesn't matter.
Yeah. exactly. Yeah. I think these people, they come from a completely opposite corner of life, of lifestyle, of aesthetics, of everything. So for them, this thing we are seeing is a bit alien. It doesn't run in the blood.
It doesn't run in the blood.
It doesn't run in the blood.
There's a very massive like sense of hubris to it, where it's like they've disrupted so many other things, so they think, oh, like why not culture as well? Because
Yeah,
it's like, this is not something to be optimized, right? Like very good at optimizing things, making things more efficient,
that's the
faster.
switch that it's very hard for them. Fashion is not about
Yeah.
solving problems, and
No.
everything they have in mind, the North Star is always the job to be done, the problem to be solved, the efficiency we can bring, which is a state of mind that doesn't lend itself very very well to this type of project. But I think that through sheer effort and through the sheer amount of money being thrown into this taste waste bin, sooner or later we will actually see something cool.
I do agree with that, because I think it's like, don't underestimate them, because like it'll keep going until it's, I mean, even like Anthropic, right, with
Oh
the,
yeah.
yeah, like with the airmail collab. I think we talked about that last time, perhaps, but like I think it's like one of those things where like, okay, like you throw enough money and enough time at it, and you tempt people that do have the knowledge to work for you, then you're eventually going to get there. It's going to take time, but it's eventually going to get there.
Yeah, and already, again, for them probably it's more difficult than for most, but already you can see some examples of tech companies slowly getting there. Like it's more almost like a random initiative, so it doesn't link to an overall strategy. But Stripe, the payment,
Payment, yeah.
the fintech company, they have a publishing arm. And the
Stripe
publishing
Press, yeah.
arm, the publishing arm seems to have, I would say, almost an editorial line. So it's not just, like we were saying before, I do a book so that I can be photographed with a book under my arm. So there must be some thinking behind it. And I saw at least one title where I told myself, I could buy this one. It's not
I
just
might,
performative.
yeah.
So
I might have a look. See
yeah, I
what's up.
mean, they will get there. They will get there. Also, don't underestimate the fact that sometimes, in order to do these things, these cultural initiatives or fashion initiatives, they are preying on weak industries. So it's very easy for them to get, for example, creative directors. I mean, we have Galliano collaborating with Zara. It's the same. We have the former marketing director of Loewe joining Nothing. Okay, Nothing is consumer electronics, but it's
Yeah,
tech.
if you tempt someone with enough money, right? Like I think you're very right. I mean, like Law Roach right now has gone to like style Lauren Sanchez. I don't think he's doing a particularly good
Oh yeah,
job at it. But that, that's proof. Like it's like the article with the Geese psyop. Like if you pay someone, like money is very often like, it's just, if you can provide someone stability, they'll often like, jettison some integrity.
yeah. And I mean, these people have money to burn right now. Maybe it won't be
Yeah.
like this forever, because at some time they will have to show some profitability. But for the time being, they can do whatever they want, basically. So
yeah, for sure. I mean, if someone offered you like, $1 million to be like, okay, like come up with a cultural infiltration strategy for like Palantir, like I feel like there are definitely some mental gymnastics that someone would do. Be like, oh, like, well, if I'm not going to do it, they'll hire someone else, so it's going to happen anyway, so I might as well make some money out of it.
yeah. There are a lot of mental gymnastics, as you say, to basically end up doing it.
Exactly. So I can't say that I would be immune. Some people may jump down my throat, but I don't know. When someone presents you with a blank check, it's hard to ignore, right? So you never know until you're in the situation.
So we say no to chaotic good, and we say maybe
to Palantir.
Price upon request. Okay.
So POA upon request. Okay. Shall we talk about Salone de Mobile?
Oh yeah, the Salone del
Yeah.
Mobile. Salone del Mobile. Have you ever been there, by the way? I didn't ask.
No, but I do love saying Salone de Mobile.
Salone
It
del Mobile.
rolls. Salone de
It's
Mobile. Yeah,
no,
it
yeah, very
rolls off.
complicated. But you know what?
Rolls off
It's
tongue.
more complicated than this because the company behind the Salone del Mobile, it's a trade organization called Federlegno, which is basically the trade, the umbrella trade organization for all the furniture company that, as maybe as you know, tend to be based around Milano in what we call Brianza. It's the region. It's one region north of Milano. Then, to make things more complicated, there are actually two Salone del Mobile.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean, there is the actual fair. The actual fair is in Rho, which is just on the outskirts of Milano, and it's a trade fair. It's where you have the big stands by, I don't know, Molteni, Knoll, whatever. All the brands are
Okay,
there.
yeah.
And they are showing the product to, interior designers, buyers, architects, whatever. So that's the origin. Then now it's been quite a few years. At some point, somebody, I have no idea who, by the way, had this brilliant idea of creating what we call fuori salone, which means literally out of the salone. Fuori salone is basically a collection of all the satellite events that happen in the city during the Salone del Mobile. And the problem is that the marketing problem that they have right now is that the Fuori Salone is actually so big that when people talk about the Salone, they actually mean the Fuori Salone. And some brands are questioning the idea of paying, a booth or a large exhibition space in the trade fair, which is very expensive, when in fact all the people are in town, and maybe you have a big showroom in town, and you could simply do something there. Now, for the time being, most design furniture brands, they do the two things simultaneously. So they have, let's say, the more professional exhibition in the trade fair, and then they do some artistic installation, some more communication leaning project in town. But then the real change is that Salone del Mobile, especially the Fuori Salone, so the real one, is no longer about design, not primarily. I mean, it has been invaded by, any brand you can think of, really any brand you can think of is doing an activation during Salone del Mobile. So when you start drafting your marketing plan, it's like in fashion. In fashion, you have the fashion weeks. In the marketing plans of increasingly a huge number of brands, not just design brands, there is the Milano Design Week, or the Salone as we call it, and you have to put some money there. It has become a bad case of marketing FOMO, honestly.
Yeah, so for this year, I've just to give some context, what do we have here? Okay, so we see Loro Piana has done a lot of, it's
yeah, the very complex, how do you call them? The tapestries. They are not tapestries.
The tapestries, yes. Prada's done a limited edition presentation of Japanese ceramic vessels. Moncler has a giant inflatable octopus wrap around a building facade.
It's the Gentle Monster moment, yes.
Yeah. And then there's like Bottega Veneta doing a site-specific installation of woven structures and light sculptures. So yeah, okay, just to give a bit of a flavor. So being on the ground, what's been your takes? I've seen like last year there was a similar complaint around how Design Week had been taken over by brands and had become as much of a, it's almost like another fashion week, given how much involvement there is with with luxury brands and fashion brands that are doing things at Milan Design Week. What's your take on it being this year? You know, like what have they brought to the table? How has it interacted with the you know, kind of more traditional, or like you know, brands that you would expect, like the Knowles or the Gooby, or you know, other brands that are traditionally from the design space. What's been your read on it?
Yeah.
This
So
year?
okay. First of all, I mean, to start with the positive, the Milano Design Week is like an economic boon for the city, because you have this huge inflow of professional visitors, but increasingly not just professionals. They come here for the vibe, for the ambience. They spend a lot of money. So the hospitality industry, the hotel industry, all the agencies, of course, setting up events, that they are making huge amounts of money. I was talking with a guy, a friend of mine who works in fashion. I won't make the name for obvious reasons, but he told me that in 3 days they recovered the budget for the year. Because there were so many people. And I mean, those people, when they are around, of course, it's not only about visiting events or visiting showrooms. They go to restaurants, they go to shops, they are in the right mindset. So that's the positive part. And connected to that, the other positive part is that there is a lot of energy. I mean, sometimes you get a feeling in Milano that people are a bit pessimistic, and in this case, I mean, you can really feel the energy in the air. Now, about what you were saying. First of all, yes, it's about fashion. So there is this fashion invasion. It's quite visible, quite obvious. It has been going on for a few years, but this year reached, you know, really the peak so far. It's not only about fashion. There are many other brands that are not design brands, and still they do huge things. Like you have a lot of car brands like BMW, whatever. You have IKEA, but okay, IKEA is at the end of the day more or less in the right space. You have a lot of beverage brands, and then you have brands of, you know, brands you wouldn't even remotely associate with design. But yes, fashion is there. And I think most of what I saw was really forgettable, honestly. And I think it reinforces the idea that fashion, I mean, we are talking about luxury fashion at the end of the day, not just fashion. It reinforces the idea that luxury fashion has gone mass. Because most of these events, if not all of these events, and this is a big difference versus the fashion week, they are very democratic. So it's not like you have to be on a list or you have to pay money to get in. You simply have to be okay with queuing with maybe 1 hour or 1 hour and a half or 2 hours even. So that's the only thing you have to pay, and then you can enter. Now the problem with that, which in theory could be something beautiful, okay, I'm opening myself to the larger public, but at the end of the day, the problem is that you are targeting everyone with a pulse. Everyone, of course, is going there because usually there is a photo opportunity, that's the formula, and there is a giveaway. And by the way, the giveaway, this happens every time. 2 days after, 1 day after, 1 week after, you will find the giveaways, the most successful ones, on sale on second-hand marketplaces and e-commerce websites. So, for example, you can find the Gucci soft drinks. You can find them on eBay, or you know that Jill Sander did.
Oh yeah, let me pull that up. There was I was just on that article.
I think it's there. I'm sure it's part of the selection of wallpaper.
Also shout outs to wallpaper. I mean, I think, wait, Jill Sander. I think it was in the previous one. I'll bring it up, but like I think oh no, this is this is not
There is so much.
wallpaper. There's
Yeah.
so much.
Yeah. Anyway, it was.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Was this Jill's on those? Jill's. Sorry,
Yes,
yeah, reference
that's it.
library.
That's the reference library. Yes, which was basically a selection of books, which were not. I mean, it felt a bit gratuitous to me because it was they weren't selected by the creative director of the house. They were selected by other people. I think it was maybe. I'm not sure if it was mediated by Apartamento, but anyway, there was another layer in the middle. And so you went there, you could leaf through those books, and in order to do that, you were gifted a pair of the white gloves.
The gloves. Yeah, I saw that.
By the way, anyone who works seriously on old books will tell you that it's bollocks. you don't need white gloves, but they are very performative, and so they were used as giveaways, and then of course you could find them on Vinted.
That's yeah. I don't know why no one's done a no one's done a recap of like the best swag that you can get from Salone del Mobile.
Yeah, I think it would be a more honest guide.
It's just like you just have like hit this, just like for the free stuff.
That's why you go there. I mean, it's for the free drink, for the photo opportunity, for the little giveaway, which is either a keepsake or something to make a quick buck out of. But anyway, it shows you that I would say 99% of the people who are there, they are not in the market for those brands.
No, but it's like Art Basel, right? There's so many people, like myself included, go like I have no intention of like purchasing the art like inside, but it's I'll still buy a ticket to go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's I would say it's more extreme than Art Basel. It's more extreme, and it's more democratic in a way, more democratic than Art Basel, and more extreme in terms of how much you are courting people who maybe one day will have the money to buy whatever you are selling. But anyway, that's not really my complaint, because as I said in the beginning, yes, you can be being democratic can be nice. Why not? You are opening yourself to people, you are explaining who you are, and
it looks super fun. If I'm not gonna lie, like I think it looks like very like visceral and like almost like it's very playful as well. Like I think you were mentioning it's like the budget seemed to be so much like for like creating these interactive like these activations they seem so much more fun than like
they are fun. They are less fun if you factor in the queues.
But it's free though, right? Like that's
Yeah, it's free. It's free. Maybe the only thing I would correct, I'm okay, of course, with keeping things, especially if you are being democratic, you are opening the gates. I mean, it's not like you can be super conceptual. You have to be, a bit light in terms of mood. In most cases, I don't see the link with design. Okay, and I think that having a link with design in a fun way would make those activations. I mean, they would still have to be fun, of course, but you could you could have something more legitimate and something that maybe paves the way for a fashion brand entering the design space, because that fashion is now looking for other outlets or other revenue streams. Design could be one, but if you are simply doing stuff during design week, that's not entering design. That's just coexisting with design.
True.
It's not. And honestly, I didn't see very good examples of that.
Okay. Did you see anything that was particularly good or particularly egregious?
Oh, particularly egregious. I think on average, everything was very, very expensive and very average. So
Sounds kind of like it sounds kind of like
state
the
of the
fashion
industry.
landscape. Yeah.
Exactly. No, what I was about to say was that, I mean, there are, if you look for it, and not just at the original Salone, even outside of the Salone, there is still something interesting happening in the design space, in the furniture design space.
Mhm.
And I really like this conversation that is happening around Piero Gandini is the CEO of Floss B&B, which is
The
probably
lighting
right.
company?
Sorry?
The lighting company?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
It was originally associated with Floss, so the lighting company. Then Floss, I think it was a merger, or they purchased B&B, which is another huge historical
Yeah. Yeah.
designer firm. And then they have many more. They have Maxalto. They have different brands. I think they are probably right now the biggest company in Italian design, which is basically global design. And is a very opinionated guy, and he said that in a way, design over the last few years chased or acted by the same playbook of fashion. So looking for scale, looking for rapid growth, going too much maybe into contract, which is a specific business, and he wants to go back to the roots of the industry, which is about partnering with great designers, not just one-off, but building a real relationship with maybe a couple of designers. He has something like that at Floss with, for example, with Konstantin Gricic, and going back to doing radical stuff. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
he says that what happens when you jump too much into contract furniture is that you start making the same kind of tasteful furniture, very chic, very elegant, very well made. I don't think furniture has an issue with quality, which is an issue in the fashion industry. So they don't have that.
Mm-hmm.
But in
Mm-hmm.
terms of aesthetics, everything is starting to look the same. And he says, okay, I want to go back to making, statement sofas, huge, or lightning solutions that, they are creating their own niche. And I thought that was beautiful. That's the kind of discussion I would like to hear and maybe join during the Fuori Salone. As far as the Coachella goes, I'm happy for all the set designers, all the agencies, the production companies doing. By the way, I
I
know.
almost typed in design Coachella.
Yeah, the design Coachella. Even there, I would like to see some, not just great money being spent, but also some ideas, and possibly some ideas that have to do with the design.
Mm-hmm. Do you
Oh my
think,
God.
I mean,
Yeah, okay, this is my wallpaper, so they have a place doing that, but there is this epidemic. It's also during the fashion weeks. I don't know if it's exclusive to Milano, or if we have the same in other cities, but since nobody's reading newspapers anymore, all the news kiosks that we used to have in the city, they have been converted into temporary pop-ups. And so
mm,
everyone is doing branded kiosks,
yeah, okay.
selling flowers, selling catalogs disguised as magazines, that kind of stuff. It's really an epidemic, and we had many more during the latest design week, of course.
Mm. Do you think, okay, so two questions for you. Do you think that there is going to be this interest, like, I mean, right now, like, okay, like, I don't, correct me if I'm wrong, but this hasn't like reached into the mainstream so much. Like, I'm not seeing TikTokers like, in Australia, for example, like talking about their trip to go and like see Design Week in the same way that they'll make like a trip to see Art Basel, or like or Fashion Week. It hasn't reached that yet, but
Hmm.
Do you think that there is a future in which design kind of has its moment in pop culture in the same way?
Okay, so it's two questions. I think, well, I don't have the figures to back it up, but I have a feeling that Milano Design Week is bigger than Art Basel, actually.
Mm.
Um, we should go to one of those horrible companies doing, measuring earned media value, sentiment, and whatever. But I do have a feeling that right now, it hasn't always been the case. It's quite recent. I do have a feeling that right now Design Week is bigger, again, not because of design, but because of everything else that is happening in town. So probably the content getting the views is more about, the lunches, the, I don't know, the stars and the celebrities and that kind of stuff. But anyway, I do have that hunch. Uh,
Mm.
as for design, occupying the same space, uh, I don't think so. I mean, you know that it's basically one of my mantra. I mean, I think there is this macro narrative in which people are spending less money on fashion and they are shifting their spending somewhere else. So they have hospitality is the 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 first destination, but then there are other pursuits, and furniture is one. The problem or the limit of furniture, the limit of design, is that the entry price is quite high.
So high, yeah.
Yes, and you need a house. That's the other barrier.
Mhm.
So as much as you like, I don't know, Polen, the Dune sofa, okay, which is the closest we have to a viral item. Uh, okay, you need a very big room to have it. You have a big living room, and you need the money to buy something like that. And I
And
think,
there seems to be. Sorry, I'll let you finish first. I was going to say there's no shame in buying. There's less shame in buying dupes. I mean, I see so many of those Togo sofa dupes.
yeah, I don't know. I think then the furniture industry is very much linked to the real estate industry. So when there is a
Mm.
crisis and people are building less, of course, there is the industry contract. So it's a very different industry, to be honest, versus fashion. But I think, yes, I think it does have a potential right now to become, also, if you want to signal taste, you can signal taste. Increasingly, I would say less so with a handbag. A handbag is
Mm.
increasingly becoming something a bit tacky, something that it's too obvious to seen. You can signal taste by having a beautiful lamp in your house, or in your Instagram feed when you do posting, or I don't know, a USM cabinet,
Oh,
or
yeah,
something.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
I think there is an opportunity for that. I think there are some constraints due to the economics of this industry, and also the fact that you need some actual space. You cannot just have a rack, or a wardrobe. You need a house.
Mm, mm. I mean, they can still get a like everyone needs a good desk, for example. Like it's yeah. But I take your point. I take your
And
point.
that, and
Perhaps
that's a,
maybe
that's no that's a use case for the kind of opportunity I see. Yes, maybe
yeah,
you
yeah.
can signal taste, not just taste. I mean, it really improves the way you are working for a nice desk, or for a nice lamp on your desk, or whatever. But again, I don't see this industry having the same potential that we saw peaking a few years back in fashion.
Okay, okay. It's very interesting. Very interesting. Um, Yeah, it's interesting. Then we talked about that. Fashion seems to be expanding out into like other categories to kind of dominate, but it might be expanding into a category where people have less money to like. Well, it's going to be the highest, but so high, but like the
But
people spend less.
there are some fashion brands that do furniture quite well. I mean, it's not really a business; it's more like a pet project. Is Rick Owens, because Rick Owens is the perfect example of a designer that has a very precise aesthetic, and not just an aesthetic. I would say a whole lifestyle in mind, and so it's very easy to start from there and make the clothing. Yes, but you can also make the furniture, which is very nice. I actually like the furniture more than the than the clothing.
Likewise.
And another one who was very good at it. Then maybe you don't like it, but it's very correct. I would say was Armani.
Yes. They
Armani
used to
was
have
designing everything.
a building in Hong Kong where they would have like basically the entire Armani universe. Sorry, I'm just getting my charger. But they would have like Armani Casa, Armani, like Armani Bar, Armani, like both Giorgio and Emporio Armani in the building. They even had a florist and a chocolate store. It was kind of crazy, like even in the early 2000s to have that sort of like whole building experience.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think maybe Ralph Lauren has something similar. I mean, they have huge buildings, and I do think they do something. Maybe not furniture, but they do. For example, they do towels and textile products or whatever. Anyway, I think fashion should be, especially the big groups that have enough energy and enough money to be thinking strategically about the future. They should fix the core business, of course, because there are some issues to be fixed there. But at the same time, they should be exploring other revenue outlets. The thing is, you cannot jump into design by simply, finding a company to manufacture it and then stamp your logo on it. You need to apply the same creative direction, whatever is left of that, to another category, which is not an easy exercise. But again, I could see some brands becoming not big, but making a sizable portion of their revenues in design with an idea, and not just with some licensing deal or something like that.
Could you see the opposite of any design brands going pop?
Yeah, I mean, I could see it, but it's very difficult because in my experience, those companies are still very much, I mean, and there are positive aspects to it, but they are very much non-managerial. So the idea of expanding into another industry is not something that would be, would probably normally come into the conversation. And I'm talking about the big ones, not just the small ones. They are very much linked to the product, to the manufacturing side. And so if you think of a company that makes furniture, that makes sofas, that makes desk, it becomes more difficult to think in terms of brand, because you don't see yourself as a brand. You see yourself as a product, and maybe because of that you are a brand. But it doesn't lead to this type of discussion. The people of LVMH and Kering should have this type of analysis and conversation and evaluation, knowing that it's very difficult, because it's not like you can enter another industry like this. But it's worth exploring.
One of the things I'm thinking about is like furniture, as you say. I mean, it is one of those very. I mean, would you say that like furniture and design is one of those very K-shaped, like for a consumer, like it's like for a category, like you either have really like expensive like Knoll furniture, or you purchase vintage or from like First Dibs, and it's tens of thousands of dollars, you know, for a couch, or you
Mhm.
have like IKEA or like, you know, CB2 like Wayfair, which is still like
Hmm.
a bit terrible. Like I think somewhere in the middle, you like even like Hey, like I
Yeah,
think they're Danish.
Ace. Yeah,
Mid range as it is, it's still like, incredibly expensive. So I wonder whether like there
yeah,
is
yeah,
that
yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's true.
opening.
It's true. Maybe you would have to check the economics, because maybe there is a good reason for not exist for it not existing. But
Mm,
yes, it is true that there seems to be like a hole in the middle.
mm.
Yeah, it is true. It doesn't. There is not much that comes to mind when we
Other
think.
than like dupes, but like dupes are terribly like pretty poorly made in my view.
Yes, exactly. Dupes. I mean, there is vintage, by the way, which is
Yeah,
also
yeah.
factor in this
Another whole
industry.
other, yeah.
Before we come to dupes, there are, but there is this strange situation in which you have legal dupes.
Yes. Yeah.
Because some
Yeah.
historical designs, they were copyrighted maybe only in Italy or in some countries and not in others. So in other countries you can make them, and they are dupes. It's exactly the same design. Maybe you skimp a bit on the materials and etc., but it's not illegal. It's
Mm,
it's
mm,
it's a it's a legal copycat in a way.
mm.
Uh, yeah, I mean, maybe that's another opportunity to evaluate, like an entry level range, tasteful, nicely made, nicely done, that doesn't cost a fortune.
Mm. I mean, yeah. I mean, I think there are some like, you know, those mattress companies are doing that, but the designs aren't particularly nice.
Yeah, you know what?
Yeah.
Maybe IKEA will go there one day.
Maybe like if IKEA did like I know because they did a collab with like Ilse Crawford a number of years ago.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like I don't like if IKEA did like, you know, maybe, you know, the same way Uniqlo does like Uniqlo U or like Uniqlo JW Anderson, like IKEA has, you know, a collection of
Yeah, I think they probably see themselves as a mass market brand that doesn't need the distraction of.
true.
Because Zara started doing the same.
Oh, Zara
Very,
Home. Actually, that's maybe that's the middle
yeah,
kind of.
it's not very high quality. It's not very high quality, but yes, in terms of design, it's not bad. It's not bad.
Yeah.
I mean, if you are building, I don't know, a vase for the office, whatever, okay. If you're buying, sorry, a sofa I'm not even sure they make big furniture, but anyway, I would maybe have a few doubts, but IKEA could do something like that. The problem is that they don't have the urgency, because Zara
Mm,
started going up when it was attacked from the bottom by Shane, by Temu, those players. So they were forced to explore that direction. I don't think IKEA right now probably has the same issue or that issue at the same level, but who knows? Maybe
mm.
it's a direction for them.
I think you need to see like some sort of big push, like, you know, societally for, you know, like for example, like maybe housing suddenly got really accessible for everyone, and like people really started caring about what the inside of their homes look like, something like that. Some
Yeah,
sort of
yeah,
macro.
yeah. You would need something like that. Yes.
Mm,
No, you're
mm,
right.
mm.
Basic point being, I mean, it's a different industry with its own history, its own logics. It does have some of the issues of the fashion industry, but not the same issues. It does have a potential, but it's not the same potential. But it's a very interesting industry. Honestly,
Mm.
I think it's right now it's more interesting than fashion.
Maybe next time we can get a guess, because I'm really fascinated about this. But like, if there is like, if you know someone from within the design, from within the design industry that we could speak to, I think that would be very interesting, and maybe like, you know, speak about some of these topics.
Absolutely. We can talk with Yeah, we can talk with a design person or maybe a marketing person. Yeah, we can do something like that.
Yeah, let's put the feelers out.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think that about covers it for this week. I think that was a very, very interesting. Like we got into a lot of meaty topics there. I think it'd be very I'm gonna be leaving with a lot of thoughts swirling into my head.
which is
I think
a positive
yeah,
outcome.
I think Milan Design Week kind of like came and went in my head. Like, it's not something that like registered, but now that I'm like kind of sitting with it, um, it's made me reevaluate like how like the significance of it, and like I mean it has become so mass, like you said, like
It's huge. It's huge.
it's huge. Yeah.
There must be somewhere some study about the economic impact of the design week, but I can tell you it's like 4 times the Milano Fashion Week. It's 4 times, so it's probably bigger than the Paris Fashion Week. I don't know. It's a huge economic force, especially because when it comes to fashion, Milano is not the only place to be. Increasingly, it's the second after Paris. When it comes to design, there is nothing like Milano. There is only Milano. And so it's really the place to be. Even the buyers, there is no debate, there is no discussion. I go there.
It's like one of those last events that is really like that. I wonder.
Oh yeah, it's again, there is nothing like it in Milano for sure, and there is little like it around the world.
Okay. Well, with that, shall we wrap it up?
Absolutely. I mean, it's been a pleasure as usual.
Always. We're looking forward to the next one. Okay, for anyone listening, we will post the links to the articles in the comment thread or in the post, whatever platform you might be on. Hope you enjoyed our second edition of this of our conversation, and we'll see you for the next one.
And bye bye.
Bye bye.
Ciao.